Hello, everyone. We are the RFI communications team. My name is Tristan Powell,
I'm Sydney Burdick.
My name is Ren Lee.
and this is a presentation about what we have accomplished this summer.
I'd like to start with a quote that really dives into my role in RFI in the design field. You can have brilliant ideas, but if you can't get them across, your ideas won't go anywhere. And this doesn't necessarily only applies in the design field, but also applies in your family, business, or personal relationship. Essentially, you can have all the resources in the world, but if you can't effectively communicate them, your ideas won't progress, or if you're running a business, you won't make any profit. So my name is Ren Lee. I am a graphic designer for RFI, and I'd like to show you a little bit of what I do and how I do it. So we'll start with the RFI logo. Our signature look is the infinity logos. It's very modern and it's very simple. And the other aspect we have here is our color palettes. We have the dark green, the light green, and the white, which you see all around, our banners and our titles. Those are our primary colors, and our secondary colors, which you don't see a lot, are the gray, blue, and gold. And those are mostly used in brochures or in type of newsletters. And you don't see the primary and the secondary colors together because we don't want the colors to clash. And we really want to emphasize on the vibrancy of the green in contrast with the white. And so you look at this and you talk to yourself, if I just take a color from this color palette and I just slap the logo onto the colors, that's basically RFI. But kind of true, not really. So you forget about the people, the person, and sometimes they come in groups. So now you have a lot of people, and you also have to choose the right background. In this case, it's a bird eye view, but sometimes it could be a rural landscape. So now you talk to yourself, how do I fit all these people, and then add this background into it, and still be able to see the background and the person, and let's not forget about the colors, and how are all these elements combined together create a graphic that really defines what RFI is. Whether is it too modern, or is this rural enough, or is this diverse enough? And so I go through this process numerous amount of times, and sometimes I ask myself, if you look at the top right corner, that's Tristan. Sometimes I say, Tristan, him pairing with this background and this blue, is that RFI? Or is that, or can I do Sydney and Tristan? Is that diverse enough? So I ask myself a number of these questions, numerous amount of time, to the point where the words themselves don't mean words anymore, and the colors anymore. So I look at the word modern, for example, and I see blue, and I look at diversity, and I see green. At this point, it's like I'm going crazy. But so what do you do at this point? Because you're essentially stuck in this cycle, asking yourself what is right and what is wrong, and there's no specific right answer. So what you do at this point is you ask for outside perspective. You ask your friends or your coworker, your peers, your boss, and these are some of the feedback you get from them as we move from left to the right. Some of the feedback I get are, so I don't like the background. It's too broad. There's no city landscape. This is not what our rural communities look like. So I'll be like, okay, let's put a color. Or you can barely see it now, but essentially the bird eye views last night, and then someone say, I don't like how dark it is. Well, I'll brighten it up, but I don't see what you see because I've been staring at the screen for the past 6 hours and I don't see anything wrong with it. And then you get to the right, which is the final products. So you have a little bit of everything, and in a further away distance, you see everything, every details. But if you walk up close, you see the small, minute details, and you ask yourself, so I see these dots, and they kind of like represent the people in the communities, and you see these kind of lines that intersect them. So together, everything is connected in a way. So this summer, I had the opportunity to work with these amazing individuals, and they are represented in their communities with the graphics.
Social media is not a media. The key is to listen, engage, and build relationships. One of the goals of our social media is to build relationships with our audience and to connect more with our audience and engage with them. My name is Sydney Burdick. I am the social media guru at RFI. One of my projects this summer has been growing our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter account. I was able to do so by over 50 followers on all of our accounts. We also reached our 3K like on Facebook milestone. We were able to really do that by engaging with our audience and connecting with them more by sharing their posts, retweeting their tweets, liking their Instagrams, as well as utilizing our Instagram stories to become a little bit more personal. So one of my campaigns this summer was the Academy campaign. This was my first ever social media campaign outside of my ad PR classes at UNL. This was also one of the first weeks of my internship, and I was completely by myself. Caitlin wasn't there with me. So this was also my first real leadership opportunity, to be my own leader and to grow. I was really nervous at first, and I didn't really have a good plan. I was just kind of winging it when I got there, but I figured it out pretty quickly, and we had really good engagements. So my plan was to post on Facebook and Instagram every day, highlights from that day, fun quotes, what everybody liked, and tweet multiple times a day, live tweet all the events, the speakers, the presentations, as well as to start utilizing our Instagram story. We were able to get a lot of our fellows interviewed on there about their favorite quotes, their friends, their memories, what they're looking forward to the next day. And our engagement just kept growing throughout that entire process. So before I get into the actual numbers of the engagements that we've had, we have a couple of definitions. The reach is the measure of potential audience size, where the engagement is the measure of the actual public likes, shares, and comments. So here are the metrics for our Academy campaign. We got over 1,000 reached on Facebook and Twitter, around 200 reached for Instagram, lots of engagements for Facebook and Instagram, around 51 engagements for Twitter, and then around 16 followers for Instagram, 18 for Facebook, and 8 for Twitter, which is way beyond what I thought we'd be getting. I thought those numbers would be like maybe double digits, if anything. So I was really impressed with myself, and yeah, I was just really happy about that. Another one of my projects this summer has been implementing our Instagram stories. And I know all of our fellows have gotten many emails and texts from me about this, and trying to push you guys to do it. But my goal was to only have all the fellows take it over one time throughout the summer. And pretty much everybody had reached out to me after that saying, can we take it over? I want to take over the Instagram story. We're doing really cool stuff. And that was like way beyond my expectations, and that was really, really cool. So I have a little compilation of just the intros that some of them were doing for the story.
Good morning, Instagram. Megan and I are back, and we're taking you along with us again today.
Hey guys, it's Alyssa and Angela, and we are taking over the Snapchat today.
Instagram.
Hey guys, it's Kirsten,
And Courtney.
and we are the Garden County Student Fellows this summer.
Hi, I'm Borgom.
And I'm Basu.
Those are just a couple of the intros. They definitely got a lot better as the summer went on. Also, it's Instagram and not Snapchat, but you all figured it out, and I was really proud of everyone. And my goal for this was to be more student-based, because our largest audience for Instagram actually are students. So my thought process was just content by students for students to get more students engaged. And our numbers just kept growing exponentially throughout this entire Instagram campaign, I guess.
So I'll start out with a quote too, because we're all doing that, so that's cool. So it has been said that next to hunger and thirst, our most basic human need is for storytelling. And so my official title at RFI is a storyteller, and that's kind of a fancy title for videographer. But at RFI, we like to use the word storyteller because that's what we really try to do with our videos. And that's how you get engagement, is you tell a story through your video. Your video has to have a beginning, middle, and end, and it has to have a purpose about why you're creating it. You can create a video that has 25 facts with just a person like listing them off, and that might be useful for you, but it's not going to be engaging, and you're not going to get a lot of people that are going to click on that if they don't know anything about it and be like, ooh, this looks fun. So you have to tell stories through your videos. So that's what I really wanted to do this summer. And this summer, my two main projects were traveling out to the communities that those were in, the student fellows, and their awesome things they were doing there, but also traveling along with their rural communities, going to other rural communities in Nebraska and taking drone footage. Drones are a great new tool that's just come up in the past few years from journalism college, and there we really started getting into drones with Matt Waite, and so I learned about it there. And then when I saw the application for Rural Future up, the first thing they said was drone required. I was like, ooh, that's awesome, because they're like, because this is like cutting edge video, like consumer technology that we now have access to. And I was like, I want to do that. So I got my drone's license and I joined RFI, and it's been a great experience to work in RFI and use the drone and really learn a ton of things about capturing video with drones. And using drones for video is just a new tool that we didn't have before that allows for new perspectives and new ways to capture video and tell stories that we just didn't have before. Here, this is in Oshkosh, Nebraska. This is where Courtney and Kirsten were in for their Garden County Fellowship. This is a picture. So Caitlin really enjoyed me being able to travel out in Nebraska this summer because I was able to, all my travels, I could and capture it. And then traveling through Kearney, and they had a fair going on. I was like, awesome, I got to stop and get that. So this is a picture of that. And so, but it's, but traveling in Nebraska has really been a great opportunity for me because I was just out on my own. I just head off and go to the communities, and there's no internships that would have allowed me to really be on my own and do my own thing and grow. In that way, I really had to step up and be my own leader this summer and follow my own works. And I've really grown a lot as a person through that. And then there's also a lot of growing opportunities. Being out on yourself, there's no one else going on. A lot of odd things happen they have to adapt to. Like one time I was traveling out to Laurel, Nebraska, which is about 2.5 hours north of here. And I was going out to video and take photos of the freight index that was going on. But I also wanted to take some drone footage of the area because it was the northeast Nebraska. I had it out there. But sadly, it was too windy that day, and the weather was not cooperating with me. So I was really sad, but I just couldn't do anything about that. So I learned in that instance, I got to be prepared as a drone person. I have to know what the weather's going to be like. So I added that to my new checklist. Check the weather radar.
So we are the first RFI communication team that had the opportunity to participate within the Fellows Academy program. It's a short, inclusive leadership training, 3 days program. It's one of the with me. Is it working? Okay. So this is called, I got this off of Helen's. It's called the 4 layers of diversities, and essentially is what you judge a person based on these 4 layers because you don't know them. So you judge the person based on the location of where they work, their appearance, what they dress like, their race, their ethnicity, their genders, but you can't assume their personality without talking to them, obviously. So during the academy, it was a very short moment. I didn't get the opportunity to sit down with each and everyone and really tell them my whole life story, and I wanted people to know me for who I am. So I decided to insert my personality within every layers, within everything that I do, and then with everything that I say. So then people can get a glimpse of who I am as a person.
Another one of the activities that we completed as a team. This was probably the most important one for us, especially because we are such a close team, and everything that we do winds and we work on together. And I felt that this was the best way to become an inclusive leader, figuring out and seeing that we are actually all pretty different in our styles of work and our styles of leadership, and being able to realize that and to incorporate that into our teamwork and into our leadership really, really helpful as a team, and collaborating has been a lot easier because of this activity. So, for example, for the time, you see that I and Rin are a little more on the exact side, whereas Tristan is all the way on the more flexible side. So we had to take that into account when we were deciding when we were meeting for things, and we were like, okay, at 11, and Tristan's like, okay, we'll meet at 11. Just making sure we reiterate that and make that very clear. And then for the pace, we are all pretty much at the same pace, which that came in handy. That was very helpful, knowing that we're pretty much on the same track, and being able to just recognize that we are all very different, all have very different needs and styles.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Sydney that being the first fellow, communication fellows to go through the academy really helped us. Like after the academy, we were just all able to, like I was able to walk into Sydney and Rin's office and be like, hey, I need help, just without a second moment's thought. Because like the week before, I had no idea who they were, but the academy allowed us to bond and like know each other on a deeper level, like way faster than we were before. And Caitlin expressed that to us as well, just like she had never seen the comm team really come together as we did through academy, and that was great. And for myself personally, going into academy, how I grew as an inclusive leader, when we started, we had to take the IDU test, which kind of tells you where you are as an inclusive leader. And I thought I was going to be kind of, it was okay, I'm a nice guy, I don't dislike people. But I was still on the minimization side. It's just like, I'm nice to people, but I'm not getting to know them on a deeper level and really diving deeper into things. So that's really what I tried to work on this summer, was diving deeper and grow myself as an inclusive leader that way.
The best teamwork comes from those who are working independently towards one goal in unison. I felt that this was probably the most accurate quote to our work, because we all are the masters of our own disciplines. We all are the masters of our own work. I can't do what they do. No one else can do what we do. But everything we work towards RFI Comm. So no matter what we do, it's all towards one goal. Even though we are all leaders in our own way and leaders in our own work, we still have to think about the greater goal and work in unison.
And now for the person who leads this great team, please, honor of introducing Caitlin Eady.
Yeah, I'll be like 30 seconds. I just wanted to publicly thank Tristan, Rin, and Sydney. They were awesome this summer, and I would just reiterate what they've already said. But there were 10 interns for the communications team for RFI prior to them, none having, all in these same roles, but none having gone through academy. And they came in and really hit the ground running. So if you are considering participating, partnering, or sponsoring RFI Fellows in 2020, trust me, there's capacity growth in the leadership and there's capacity growth in the actual execution, because they came in and because they were a team, they hit the ground running. So I just wanted to share that.